Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. You know what I learned today? I learned that Bud Shaw is the smartest man that I know because he doesn't eat meat, which saves him from stopping at a certain fast food place. Within a 3-mile radius of our studios, there are at least 8 places where me or my staff members or a guest can get a quick sandwich. I usually go to the same one because I wonder how they're going to simply mess it up each time. They occasionally get it right, but never twice in a row. My order consists of a burger with lettuce and pickles, fries, and a soft drink. You know where they get confused? I didn't say no cheese, so they give it to me. I also didn't say no shoehorn, but they correctly don't give me one of those either. I told the manager about my dilemma, and he said, well, come back and we'll make it right. So I guess that means I should have driven the remaining 3 minutes back to the studio, found out they made a mistake, then drive back and park behind the 10 cars waiting in line. These people must have invented the impossible burger because it's impossible to order one without cheese. Bud Shaw is here. More Sports and Les Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine, it's a Tuesday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine into our 24th consecutive year. Seen exclusively on cleveland.com, Bud Shaw is at an undisclosed destination where he is hiding out until the authorities can come and get him. Let's see what... Look at Bud. So the worldwide headquarters have branched out a little bit.
All the way to a witness protection program.
All right, let's see. 20 guesses where you are. Let's see. You're not in the Antarctica.
Well, listen, much like the Browns are involving Odell-beckham-jr. in their uniform unveil, I'm down here for a Florida tourist unveil. So I didn't wear it tonight, but I have a Hawaiian shirt and some oversized shorts that I pull up just below my armpits. It's a really good look.
Wow, I see Emmy all over this. All right, and you haven't played golf, so you got that going for you.
Yeah, I drove down here, and let me tell you, I once made fun of Sandy Alomar for driving to Florida and showing up with a bad back. I showed up with a bad back, so karma got me.
Wow.
So I'm going to be a few days before I can swing a golf club.
Took 15 years or so.
There's something about that 19-hour drive that kind of doesn't leave you feeling real limber when you get to the end of it.
And you had a good-sized dog with you.
Well, yeah. I hope this doesn't get me in trouble. I'm staying at a condo complex where they only allow 25-pound dogs, and mine is
125.
He looks like he's put on a few weight over the winter.
What's his
so
time?
Hopefully they don't have one of those guys from the carnival that guesses the dog's weight or I'm in trouble.
All right, 216-575-0403. If you want to get in with Bud Shaw, lines are wide open at the start of this show. Not so easy to do it a little bit later. How do you do this, Bud? You're taking some time off. How do you keep up with what's going on? Obviously, with the internet, it's easier to do, but it's also easier to not do. So what are you looking for?
Well, here's the thing, Les. I don't know. I'm not really familiar with the technology. I'm repeating a lot of what my wife is telling me, but we use Roku and YouTube TV for our streaming service at home, and that's how I watch TV. I was able to bring my Roku setup down here. I can watch all of the Cleveland stations down here. I've got Channel 3 on over there right now. I'm watching the weather, the traffic, everything except the guy who complained about the fast food sandwich you got. That didn't make it yet.
I felt like Paul Hoynes when I was doing that. And then Alex from in the control room finds on the internet an example of some guy yelling at the guy in the window from perhaps maybe the same restaurant, the title, and he's yelling at the guy for basically the same thing I'm yelling at.
Yeah, but you're doing it and at least getting 2 minutes of airtime out of it. That's smart.
That is smart. The other thing is, in my little part of the world where I'm this famous, and the guy says, we're really sorry, Mr. Levine, for messing up your day. I go, oh no, I was such a jerk too. Oh well.
Yeah.
It happens. All right, spring training going on around you, right, in Florida, and the Indians in spring training. Nobody's gotten hurt for about a week. So we got that going.
Yeah,
for
that's
us.
a good sign. From what I'm reading and following, Franmil Reyes is having a good camp. You always have to be wary of what you see in spring, but certainly if he's a guy that's trying to make himself more valuable as a fielder, as an outfielder, I mean, it certainly doesn't hurt if he comes out at camp with a hot bat.
All right, we're talking spring training and the Indians, but you can't go too far without talking about the Browns and what they're going to be doing. The word came out, as you know from watching local TV down there, that Kareem Hunt will not face charges for marijuana possession in that traffic stop that took place in January. I don't think was anybody really concerned that might happen?
No, I don't think after the initial stories were done with the Rocky River Police Chief in explaining why the stop ended the way it did with them sending Hunt on his way. I think from what I've read and seen since then, I think it's a credible case that they try to handle more of these stops this way unless they see visual impairment, and they didn't in his case. So I'm not surprised that it ended this way, and he hopefully considers it himself very lucky that it did.
And he did admit, or he thought, that he wouldn't have been able to pass the NFL drug test or driving while intoxicated, or whatever they were wording it. That wouldn't have helped his cause, but as it turns out, they weren't going to press on.
Yeah, and one of the only kind of disturbing thing is that his answer to that question about whether he would have passed the test is, well, sorry, it's the off season, I was having fun. Listen, you're still behind the wheel of a car. There's still open container in your car. Like that goes beyond the definition of having fun. I mean, you can have fun at Cedar Point.
Well, yeah, I mean, there were a whole bunch of things that could have happened here, but the policeman happened to be a Browns fan. Some people complained about that, but I think we would all like to be treated that way if that happened to us, I guess.
Yeah, and I think he was admitting the part about being a Browns fan. I think he was basically using that as a way to talk to Hunt about, him not making this mistake again. I know some people saw it as, especially from out of town, I know a couple people who called me and said, boy, it'd be great to be a Browns player in that town. They don't, you can walk back to a police car, not tell the whole truth about what's in your car, find an open container and still, get off. But I think the police acquitted themselves okay in this.
Okay, so you've got Hunt, you've got Nick Chubb as the running tandem, you got a new offense, a new head coach, you've got receivers that have some question marks behind their name. What do you do? Is Kareem Hunt worth the trouble of keeping him around and fearing that something's going to happen to make the NFL upset with some of his actions? What do you do if you're the Browns as far as Hunt is concerned? Well,
I think it's important to differentiate between him and, say, a guy like ms&ll, who had problems coming into this city and continued to have problems and wasn't working hard at what he was doing. Kareem Hunt gets the nod from people for being a really hard worker, a good teammate. I thought he played really well when he got here last year under the circumstances. He wasn't the bell cow running back. And right now, if they tender him, I dare somebody to spend a second or third round draft pick on a guy that they don't know even half as well as the Browns do. So I could see the Browns where it would make sense for them to keep him on and hope that he keeps himself clean as he did during last season. Had there been problems during last season, I think they would have said, do we really need this trouble?
Would you take a third round pick for him?
Well, I guess, right?
No, I want him on the team.
I would rather have him than a third round pick.
Right. Second rounds might be a different story.
We always look at this as like it's this great position of strength, but we know what kind of attrition happens at that position in the NFL. And if Nick Chubb would get hurt 4 games into the season and they didn't have Kareem Hunt, then suddenly I think they're really an offense that's been compromised.
216-575-0403. You can email us during the show at real-levine@gmail.com. Bud Shaw is with us, and he's fighting to not come back. I assume he will stay there as long as the authorities will let him stay, but we appreciate him taking the time to join us. Did you know the Ohio Lottery has paid out over $1 billion in winnings over the past 6 months? People are winning in record numbers. Winning is happening all over the state of Ohio. Play an Ohio Lottery game and play it today. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine. We've got a new question posted each and every day. We will read your responses on the air. We got a bunch of new responses today, or the new people coming in for the first time. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
The heart-pounding, fast-breaking action of college basketball is back when the 2020 Mid-American Conference Basketball Tournament returns to Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse March 11th through the 14th. Presented by Visit Myrtle Beach. Pulses will rise and hearts will race as the men and women of the MAC put it all on the line. Tickets for the MAC tournament are on sale now online at rocketmortgagefieldhouse.com and at all Northern Ohio discount drug marts. MAC Tournament Basketball. Be there.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Birthdays for today. Horace Gillum, I believe he was from Massillon. He was the first great punter in the NFL with the Cleveland Browns. 1947, Kareem Hunt was born on this date. Randy Gradishar, Herschel Walker. This is a good day for birthdays. Santonio Holmes and Michael Thomas, the wide receiver out of Ohio State, all celebrating birthdays on the 3rd of March, 2020. Bud Shaw is with us down in Florida, joining us as he will for the next couple of weeks. And news today about Joe Schobert that the Browns are not going to sign him. We'll try to figure out how they will fill his shoes, though, or fill the void. Christian-Kirksey sent out a tweet some people think is kind of vague. He says, "Blessing in disguise." Bud, that's Christian-Kirksey. Would you assume that means he doesn't want to leave here, but it'll work out better for him in the long run?
Yeah, certainly. Sounds like it. Maybe he's betting on the fact that Schobert's going to get the kind of contract he wants in free agency. I thought it was sort of telling when Andrew Berry said initially, Les, that they wanted Joe to be able to go out and see what was out there for him. You know, they've done this various times. As you well know, they did it with Mitchell Schwartz.
Yeah, they said go ahead and test the waters, and he tested it, and then he wanted to come back, and they didn't want any part of him.
Yeah, now they did it with Terrell Pryor, and they were right. Okay, I mean his market value, there wasn't market value for him out there that he thought was there. There was for Schwartz, But what they did wrong is that when he came back to them, they didn't say, "We want you and we will match that. Just come back."
Right.
I don't know why they drew the line there. That was a terrible place to draw a line.
No, and they had to know how good he was and was going to be with his work ethic and all that. But that's the thing that I just don't understand is every time these new regimes come in, and we certainly have had enough look at new regimes here in Cleveland recently, what is the rule that you have to unload some people who were here when you got here and keep your people or bring your people in? These guys who they keep or don't keep, some of them can still play the game.
Yeah, in this case, I mean, Andrew Berry, I think, was part of the regime that brought Schobert here. And so I think everyone assumed because of that he was going to be, more welcome to or open to the idea of bringing Schobert back. I think this smacks of analytics to me in that they've put a price on that position and they think Joe would be overpriced for his production.
Right, but somebody like Stefanski coming in, he's not protecting his people. They're all new to him. No matter, however they got here, they aren't people that he was in the choosing of or making the pick.
Yeah, that's true. And we heard from them on that topic the day of the press conference, and they both, Andrew Berry especially, both said this isn't going to be a situation where a player belonged to the previous regime or he's not our guy or we're going to keep the best players here. I thought Schobert made a case for himself with the season he had. I understand he's not, the big play guy who makes plays 8 yards deep in the backfield, but I thought he had a really nice season.
Doug Lesmerises was here last night, and he made a comment that I thought rang true, that there was a time when the linebacker was one of the most important positions on the field, but not anymore. He named about 7 positions that are more important than linebacker, and he's probably right.
Yeah, I mean, certainly on defense, you don't start anywhere near there. You start with the defensive line, edge rushers, corners, maybe even safety now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree with him in that regard. I think the same thing offensively has happened to running back.
All right, there are some ways that the void can be filled, 3 of them that I can think of: free agency, the draft, and in-house already. So let's take a look at free agency, see who's out there. Blake Martinez, 155 tackles, 3 sacks, 1 interception, 1 fumble for loss, 10 career sacks, and he's 6'2", 237 pounds, 4 NFL seasons, all with the Green Bay Packers. Let's continue on, see what we have as Kyle Van Noy, 6 seasons in the NFL, split between the Lions and the Patriots. He's 6'3" and 250, and 56 solo tackles, 6.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles in 2019, and he made $4.25 million in 2019 for cap purposes. 4 forced fumbles, how about that? That's pretty good. 4 fumble recoveries also, and 10 sacks in his past 2 seasons. Pretty good resume right there. Either of those names do anything for you, or if you go that route, that changes what you do with your in-house guys?
Yeah, I think coming off a draft where they picked 2 young linebackers, depending on what they see on tape, this new regime, I think that they would want to give those guys a chance.
Yeah, you're probably talking about Mack Wilson and Taki, but let's see what the draft. Let's see what the draft looks like. Malik-Harrison, impressive at the combine for Ohio State. 6'3", 247, 75 tackles in 2019. First team All-Big Ten in 2019. And there you see some of the stats as far as the drills are concerned. Just in general, Bud, you probably didn't get to see too much of the combine, but do you think it's starting to outlive its usefulness as a tool that they use?
I think the people who are really into it will always want to watch it. They find that stuff fascinating. Those of us who have seen this organization blow so many draft picks over the years start to question whether it's it has any great value. Now, remember when they drafted Justin Gilbert, nobody likes to remember that. I understand it for good reason. But they hadn't even talked to him, and had coaches talk to him. And that, to me, that's what the combine, the most important part of it is.
Yeah, everybody
you get to look at medicals, you get to test guys medically if you want to watch them go through drills because they have a medical concern. But you also get to sit and talk with them. And even though some of the questions that gets asked at the combine are crazy, and we hear that story every year, I think it's very important window to these guys and what kind of people they are.
All right, so Malik-Harrison might be somebody that can get out of the draft, but also staying in the Big Ten, you've got Zach Bauer, and from Wisconsin, 6'2", 238, 75 tackles, and 19 tackles for loss in 2019. First team All-Big Ten in 2019. Pretty impressive numbers there for Zach, who might be on the radar of the Cleveland Browns. Then the third way you can add some players to fill in Schobert's spot, that would be in-house, a couple of in-house guys, and we mentioned them a moment ago. Mack Wilson, who really played well at the end, 82 tackles. He played 944 defensive snaps, 4 tackles for losses, 1 sack, an interception, and a fumble forced. Pretty good numbers for the rookie who didn't see too much action early on. Then let's take a look at Taki, see what he did last year. Everybody liked him because of the name, apparently, but he could also play when he wasn't hurt. So you'll
He's
have to
certainly
just
a name player.
He is a name player, no question about that. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Bud Shaw is with us. So is Northeast Factory Direct. What I hear from people about Alex, the owner, who's owned it for 20 years, what they think about is low-price furniture, but it's not cheap furniture. They carry high-quality name-brand furniture like Flex Steel in England, Klassner, and much more. Alex has 2 really nice lines of custom furniture, great style selection, and many fabric options. And they have Amish furniture made right here in Ohio. You get a higher quality than that, and it costs so much less at Northeast. They have furniture for any budget, whether you're buying starter furniture for your first apartment or refinishing a mansion. Northeast Factory Direct has high-quality hot tubs, pool tables, and game sets, and so much more. 3 locations, you see them there, but before you go anywhere, go to northeastfactory.com for more information. We'll come back in a moment. Does it make sense to go after Trent Wilson, the offensive tackle, in a trade? Let's talk about that and more with Bud Shaw. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Celebrate Naturestone's 30-year anniversary with a free Naturestone floor. During 2020, we will be giving away 30 free floors to 30 very lucky customers to say thank you for making Naturestone the best concrete flooring solution for garages, basements, and more. Call or visit naturestone.com today to register to win, and we'll send you a copy of our new buyer's guide absolutely free. There's no purchase necessary. Winners will be chosen monthly. With over 30 million square feet installed for more than 60,000 customers, it's easy to see why I always say, it's not just a floor, wow, it's Naturestone.
Got your Ohio Lottery pick 3, I see.
Yup. Those glasses are hip.
Hip? Most people think I'm a square. But what's wrong with that? A box bet can increase your chances of winning. And what is a box? A square. There are so many ways to play. There's coming out the wazoo. Oh, shucks. Look at me yammering on. Put a lid in it, Picky Ricky. Play the Ohio Lottery Pick 3 today.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Time for a How Come Quickie after Trevor Bauer. How come after Trevor Bauer gave up no runs and 2 hits in 3 innings yesterday while tipping his pitches, the Astros didn't think there's any competitive advantage into knowing what pitch is coming. Did you read that story about Bauer telling him what pitch was coming in, Bud?
I did. It's so classic Trevor Bauer. I mean, you can't get any more classic than that.
No. I'd like to see him do it the whole season.
But that's the upshot of it, right? the Astros can always say every time they strike out or pop up, see?
I told you.
Knowing what was coming didn't help us.
We actually thought he was going to fake us out and throw something else, so we were double on guard. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Are you really on vacation, or are you applying for Chris Matthews' hardball job?
Well, if I were doing that, I'd be ranting a lot and maybe even spitting on the screen.
Please don't do that.
He gets a little more worked up than I do.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, obviously offensive lineman is something the Browns are looking for. A couple of them in free agency, Jack Conklin and Joe Tunney. Let's take a look at Conklin. That seems to be a name that everybody seems to like. 25 years old and 4 NFL seasons, all with the Titans, all rookie and all pro in 2016. Spent the majority of his career at right tackle. 4 sacks allowed in 933 snaps in 2019. The age is about right to sign a guy long term, right? The beginning of his NFL career is certainly promising. I'm not sure other than more money what Cleveland can offer some of these guys. Do you have any idea? I mean, based on the fact that, you know, they change regimes and head coaches and all GMs so quickly, but do you think money just takes care of that?
Yeah, I think it does for the most part. These guys can only sign so many big deals in their NFL careers. But you make a good point. I mean, you'd have to be betting on a lot of unknowns. You'd be betting on Kevin-Stefanski as a first-time head coach. You'd be betting on Andrew Berry and just about everything else.
Yeah, I mean, even if you sign a 3 or 4 year contract, and the money is right, that's fine. But once you get into it, and if there's no improvement on the field, that 3 or 4 years becomes a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be really interested to see what they do on the line, because Conklin's a guy that, you know, would you spend that much money on a right tackle, or at least a guy who's played there most of his career, and then still have to find a left tackle, which we still believe to be a more important position.
Do you think establishing a running game with the possibility of Chubb and Hunt, do you think that negates some of the left tackle, right tackle thing, or does it, or not? I know it does if the quarterback's left-handed as opposed to right-handed, but what do you think that does for the running game?
I think it takes a little bit of the onus away from them to find a traditional left tackle because of this zone blocking that we think they're going to run, and the fact that they want guys that can move and get out in space and throw blocks. That's why I would be surprised if they went after Trent Williams at coming up on age 32 with his contract demands. Right.
That was the next thing I was going to ask you. What do you do, Joe Tunney? What similar, I think, to Conklin. I think the Browns would be happy with either one, right?
Yeah, I think so. And then I would suspect they're going to come away with a tackle in free agency, and then also in the draft.
Well, you see Tunney, an offensive guard at 6'5", 308, 27 years old, 4 NFL seasons, all with the Patriots. Won the starting left guard spot to start his rookie season and named to the all-rookie team in 2016. Allowed only 1 sack and committed 0 penalties in 2019. That's pretty good. Over 1,100
That's a little
snaps.
better. Yeah, that's a little better than most of the Browns' offensive line did last year, that 0 penalty thing.
You don't think they were loaded with guys like that?
No, I don't.
So you started to say about trading for Williams. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So we'll ask you, does it make sense?
Well,
or do you think the fact
give,
he's 32 is a game changer?
To give people a little bit of background, he had held out. He'd been feuding with the medical staff. New head coach Ron Rivera met with him at the Combine, and by all reports was saying that they were patching up this relationship. He allowed that maybe there were issues on the training side of this. But the real deal breaker, Les, is going to be that he didn't want to play last year without guaranteed money in his contract. And that's going to be the case if he gets traded somewhere. So the team that trades for him is going to have to agree already to pay him a big salary and for multiple years in free agents in a long-term deal.
Right.
And I don't know that fits what the Browns want to do.
I agree with that.
Analytics would tell them they should do with a guy who's 31 now and will be 32, I think, before the season or mid-season.
Yeah. Don't you think that's where the Browns are expecting themselves to be would determine what they would do that way? I mean, if they think they're going to contend for a playoff, contend for a playoff situation, do you think that you go with Williams or do you go with somebody else?
Yeah, I mean, I think you start grooming a young guy, and that doesn't mean just in the draft, but the guys you talked about, with Conklin being 25, 26, 27, somewhere around there where you can pay these guys, plan on keeping them for 3 or 4 years, and they're still in the prime of their career.
Right. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Bud Shaw is with us. You can explore your interests, find a program that puts you on a path to a bright future from Tri-C, offering 1,000 courses and over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu, find out more information. Mike-Clevinger, he's like a guy with dog years. You know, they say you're going to be injured and out for 3 months. In Clevenger time, that's about 6 weeks. We'll come back and talk about that and more. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
If a piston makes it go, it's in this show. March Motor Mania takes over the 2020 Summit Racing Equipment IX Piston-Powered Autorama. March 13th, 14th, and 15th at the IX Center. Show cars, antique trucks, construction equipment, hot rods, in the asylum, motorcycles, military vehicles, and themed car clubs. New for 2020, the Throwdown Monster Trucks, and the return of Fat Man's Invasion. With Euros, imports, sport compacts, and lowriders. Kids 12 and under are free. PistonPowerShow.com for details. Discount tickets on sale at Discount Drug Mart locations and Summit Racing Equipment in Talmadge.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery, Partners in Education, where stars shine.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
Let's take a look at this date in sports history. 1953, the St. Louis Browns are blocked from moving to Milwaukee. Instead, they moved to Baltimore. That's a city famous for stealing other cities' sports franchises. Little editorial addition on my part. 216-575-0403 is the number to call, and you can email us during the show at reallesslevine@gmail.com. Bud Shaw is with us down in sunny Florida, and the good thing about that for him is when he gets back here, we'll have sunny days, and hopefully we have a baseball season.
Yeah, you look at that weather that I saw tonight, and it looks like it's warming up, but we both know that on the second day of the baseball season, there will be snow.
Are you surprised? Now, you have the virus and all, but the Indians didn't sell out their home opener. This is before the virus broke out. Are you surprised about that?
Yeah, I am. I mean, I think the MLB is pushing their luck with fans in these cities to even come out for one day of pageantry. I mean, on March 26th, it's going to be cold. We know that. So, yeah, I do think that I'm a little surprised because they've always responded very quickly. But I know being down here in Florida, Les, I've been talking to people that are used to seeing crowds at different places, restaurants, golf courses, and there are people who are staying away from those situations because of what's in the news.
Oh, I'm not surprised at all. I mentioned yesterday not trying to be funny. I mean, there's nothing funny about that, but They're talking about canceling any meetings that have 1,000 people or more in it. Who knows what the commissioner of baseball might do when you get close to opening day if this thing is still doing what it's doing right now.
Yeah, and I know you know this, but some people who are tuning in probably don't. But my wife has been a long time Olympic public relations person, and this will be somewhere around her 15th or 16th Olympic Games. And she's waiting, like everyone else, to see whether Tokyo is going to be able to host these. And I think there's going to be a date coming in the next couple of months where they'll have to pull the trigger on it or not.
Yeah, it's terrible stuff, no question about that. Mike-Clevinger began a throwing program on flat ground the other day, not off the mound. He aims to beat his recovery timeline. Based on his history, he's going to do that going away, but do you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, I'm not going to second guess him because I was second guessing him at this time last year, with the pulled muscle in his back. And, him coming back right away and talking about where his velocity was. And I think I may have said it to you. I said the last thing this guy needs to be doing is worrying about his velocity and looking at the radar gun and trying to throw harder if he doesn't see it there immediately.
Well, we're showing tape of his recovery movement here. And
I think he should adopt that. I think he should do that for the rest of his career.
What's that?
That move right there.
Well,
whatever that is.
I think that basically there's no proof, in the conspiracy theory part of this, there's no proof that was taken in the last couple of days. That could have been from 3 years ago. How important is it?
Like something it looks like something Trevor Bauer talked about.
Yeah, exactly. How much needed is he? How's that for grammar? How much do they need him?
I think he's a really big part of this. I mean, obviously, I think they feel real strongly about Shane Bieber. And when we talked to Francona at Tribe Fest, he talked about Bieber seeing the same things in him that he saw in the young Corey Kluber. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to contend for 2 Cy Young Awards, but I think they like Bieber, but let's face it, Clevinger is a 29-year-old guy who should be coming into his prime, and he's been dominant for the last couple of years when healthy.
Well, he has been.
I think he's a big part of what they can do this year.
But that motion, and I've never been a pitching coach. I've never pitched. Now that I think about it, you have. That pitching motion, there's an awful lot of stress on it from a lot of different points of the body.
Yeah. I mean, the last guy, and they're not similar in deliveries, but the last guy that they had in here that you looked and you said, boy, that's a lot of moving parts for a pitcher to have was Ubaldo.
Yeah.
Right? Jimenez.
I'd be bunting all day on this guy.
Yeah. And, so Clevinger's got that real violent motion. You'd like to think that had nothing to do with the knee injury. I'm sure they were concerned about him pulling a muscle in his back, which is exactly what the young reliever has done this year at Class A, correct?
Yeah. He's going to miss at least half the season, which is not.
Yeah, that's just part of my thing is that when you try to throw as hard as these guys do, and you're looking to amp up velocity by 2 or 3 miles an hour, I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but I think it can take you out of your normal motion.
Yeah, especially
you can repeat time.
Especially at this time of the spring training season. There's no reason to be going 100 miles an hour at that point. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Clevinger did recover from the injury faster than anybody expected. So he's probably going on that to give him hope. He left the game on April 7th with a strained back muscle, and he was told he wouldn't be able to pick up, not just throw a baseball, he wasn't going to be able to pick one up. You know how heavy those are, but for 6 to 8 weeks. He started playing catch on April 30th, 2019, and then he returned to the mound on June 17th, and he came back as if he hadn't missed any time at all. So
yeah, I mean that's a pretty long. It shows that they were taking some care to make sure he was okay when you go from April to June 17th before you actually get in the game, right?
Right. Exactly.
Isn't that what the graph said? So yep. I think they're going to, even though he's pushing already to shorten this recuperation, I think they're going to be just as careful with him. You know, do you bring him back in middle of April, Wes, when it's still going to be 36 at game time? I know you don't want to take a chance on losing the division because you have a real contender in Minnesota this year, but I also don't think it's smart to push this guy, even though he thinks he's ready. Whenever he thinks he's ready, they should give him
another 3 weeks.
He needs 2 more, at least.
Don't show him a calendar.
Exactly.
Yeah, 216-575-0403. I've been talking about Alex at Northeast Factory Direct, talking about him for several months now. You've seen him on TV. He started this business out of his basement and garage just 20 years ago, saving people a lot of money on the one dining room set, and then he's now helping people to save tons of money on high-quality name-brand furniture, top-notch kitchen cabinets and countertops, industry-leading hot tubs, and much more. He's so confident in his business model that with low overhead buying in volume, so he can save big, meaning he can pass the savings on to you. He is now offering a lowest price guarantee. It's a one-year best price guarantee. If you find something in the next year that is advertised for less money, Alex is going to give you refund the difference to you. Check it out at northeastfactorydirect.com and the 3 other great locations you see right there, west side, east side, as well as south side at Northeast Factory Direct. We'll come back in a moment. Sokolowski's University Inn. That's located in Tremont, of course. I was trying to show you how close it is to Northeast Factory Direct downtown, and it is. Sokolowski's University Inn, located in Tremont, established in 1923. It's Cleveland's oldest family-owned and operated restaurant. Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn, the winner of the James Beard Foundation Award. Only 5 restaurants in the country get that each and every year. When we come back, we'll look at the Facebook question of the day. More Sports and Les-Levine continues with Bud Shaw exclusively on cleveland.com.
Get Nature Stone and never replace your basement flooring again. Your concrete is uneven, damp, and not healthy. Carpet and tile don't last, breed mold and mildew, and give worthless warranties. Nature Stone permanently corrects uneven concrete and is not affected by dampness or moisture. And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, there are no hidden maintenance costs. Act now and save up to 50% with our volume discount pricing. Must be installed by the end of March. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Heart-pounding, fast-breaking action of college basketball is back when the 2020 Mid-American Conference Basketball Tournament returns to Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse March 11th through the 14th. Presented by Visit Myrtle Beach. Pulses will rise and hearts will race as the men and women of the MAC put it all on the line. Tickets for the MAC tournament are on sale now online at rocketmortgagefieldhouse.com and at all Northern Ohio discount drug marts. MAC Tournament Basketball. Be there.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Take a look at this date in Les-Levine history. Les, 1968, Les and his baseball team were accused of stealing signs. Les went from being a Gemini to a Scorpio. Is that sign stealing, Bud?
That is definitely sign stealing. Yeah. Did that improve your chances with the ladies?
Hold on a minute. Okay, I'm okay now. Yeah, it improved my chance. It went from a 0 to nothing. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Bud Shaw is with us. Well, we'll take a look at our question of the day momentarily, but it's going to happen every day around here now. Today, the rumors are flying on Odell-Beckham Jr. Would you trade him for a second-round pick? Dan Orlovsky suggested the Packers do that for Beckham on ESPN's Get Up today. I don't know if you had a chance to see that. Would you do that if you were the Browns?
Well, let's see. The Packers are going to pick pretty late in the draft, right?
Yep.
So there's a difference between their second-round pick and, say, the Bengals' second-round pick is all I'm getting at.
Right.
I don't know, Les. I would. But then again, I see him as a terrific talent who also brings other things to the table that a new regime shouldn't want any part of. But I think every group that comes in here, every new group, they have this evangelical kind of bent to them that they're going to fix the guys that are in trouble. Dorsey had it with Kareem Hunt, and I'm not equating what Odell Beckham Jr. has done with Kareem Hunt in any way. Somebody called Odell Beckham Jr.'s issues, death by paper cut. They're small things, they're unnecessary things.
Nothing really illegal.
There's things you wish he would stop doing, but is he going to? I don't know. I mean, he's a terrific receiver, and he's also a narcissist. So is that going to end? And if you're Stefanski and Andrew Berry, if you can get a second rounder, maybe you decide that you'd rather build your offense through Chubb and Hunt, and you still have Jarvis Landry and draft picks to bring in other good wide receivers. If
you're Stefanski, are you hoping? I mean, he had no knowledge of him before, never other than people talking about him, but he never coached for him. If you look at it, would it be an ideal situation that he's a leader off and on and off the field, and that doesn't appear that's who we've got?
Well, I mean, Stefanski's had some experience last year. I don't know if was it Stephon Diggs that was in Minnesota, but and also the wide receiver whose name I'm blanking out on now, who complained early on that he wasn't getting the ball from Cousins. So Stefanski knows what this is like from an offensive coordinator standpoint, at least, to deal with guys who claim that they are only doing what they're doing because they want the team to succeed. And they there's a lot of guys on offenses and defenses who want their team to succeed that don't become a problem. And Nick Chubb would be number one on my list.
Exactly.
So I think it's something that they have to look at and decide. Only they know what their conversations with Beckham have been like in the offseason and whether he's likely to be all in during OTAs with this group.
Did you think if you left your blue Sharpie here that we wouldn't call upon you to do grading of How Come Quickies in the next segment?
Actually, I did, because all I have is a ballpoint now. So I'll have to go over it 3 or 4 times so you can see it.
Mike is telling me something of which I can't hear. Let's try it again, Mike.
Facebook question.
Yeah, we got to go to the Facebook question. I knew that. You knew that,
We're
right?
not going to How Come Quickies, exactly.
No, I said in the next segment. Rumors are flying about if you would trade Beckham for a second-round pick. Glenn Berger says, not for a second-round pick, hold out for the first-round pick or move for other quality players like an offensive tackle or an edge rusher. Ted Moon says, no possible way. He's he's a character and flamboyant. The right coach could harness that talent, make this offense one that'll be feared throughout the organization, the scheme, and the proper dedication to the plan. Keep him, says that the secondary voice of truth and reason. I didn't know Ted was that. Larry Pantages says, no, don't make that trade. Succeeding with high-maintenance players is part of the job. Even analytics experts know you don't find OBJ's talent just sitting on a shelf like quarts of motor oil at a truck stop. Joseph William Reitmeyer.
A pilot flying J-stop or just any trucks?
Anyone. Not for a second-round pick, maybe for a young starting offensive lineman, left tackle, and some picks. Don't give them away. Dan Sears, we have a lot of new emailers tonight. Dan Sears, give OBJ a second year, draft offensive lineman, and sign Conklin as soon as possible. Aaron Wood says, no way the Browns trade him. I think if he's used right, he'll have a much better season than he did last year. Kevin Piles, not a secondary round pick now, maybe during the draft, if I found myself in a position to draft a stud at the position of need, and then can obtain another receiver threat later in the draft or free agent or trade. Scott Matthews says, no way. If he's healthy, he's great. Hank Spicer. You guys are overestimating his market value. He makes way too much money for his productions, and he's hurt often. If you can get a second, do it yesterday. Michael Cirallo. The answer to this and every question about Browns players, coaches, and front office personnel is the same. As long as the Haslams own the team, it does not matter who is in any other way. So there you have it.
Well, yeah, I get Michael's frustration, but we've got 9 months or 8 months before the season, and then 3 or 4 months of the season, and we have to be able to evaluate these guys in some reasonable fashion without just saying, none of it matters as long as the Haslams are the owner. But I understand what he's saying. I think that the problems with this organization do start there.
And we talked
there
about
are many.
We talked about Clevenger's ability to heal quickly. If Beckham is not as quick, or at least ahead of the program, that could take you to the actual real games in September.
Yeah, I meant to catch myself. I mean, clearly he's not going to be involved in OTAs. So, I mean, that's not something coaches can force anyway. So maybe they've come to terms with that part of it. And listen, I know he's a great talent. There's no question about his talent. But when the one Facebook response about used correctly, I don't know what it means sometimes. I mean, you hear from people that he's not in the position he's not in the spot on the field he's supposed to be in on some of these routes.
Yeah, you assume they know the plays, but they don't always in his case.
No, I mean, and when Baker Mayfield would get in trouble last year, it seemed 80% of the time that the guy coming back to him and making himself available was Jarvis Landry. And we saw those great throws along the sidelines and even better catches by Landry. We saw very little of that with Beckham. So is he not, once the play breaks down, he's not fighting to get back to where to help his quarterback? I don't know the answers to that. Hopefully Stefanski and Van Pelt and these guys looked at it very closely and they know what they're in for.
Or how much was he hurt? He claimed to be hurt. How much? Seemed to be okay until he got his 1,000th yard catching.
Yeah, I mean, I know there were injuries involved. I was told that late in the season he was only running full speed routes 3 or 4 times on a Friday, getting ready for the game. But we were told last year, remember when he was going to miss all this OTA time, that it was so that he could get his body ready for a full NFL season and all. He knew what it took to get himself ready. And then he still wasn't healthy. So I tend to agree with the last Facebook response that says, I don't know that his market value is much higher than a 2 right now.
Good
if
point.
that.
We, as you know, have the voicemail of Truth and Reason. If you can't catch us during the show, which we do live from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time, you can call us up any other time and leave a message for us, 216-200-6650. Call anytime, leave the message, and we'll get the best messages on a future show. We're going to come back one more time. We've got some quickies to go to and more. Bud Shaw is with us at a disclosed location. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Get Nature's Stone and never replace your garage flooring again. Your concrete is cracked, uneven, and not safe. Paints and poly coatings don't last, are slippery, and give worthless warranties. Nature's Stone permanently corrects cracked, uneven concrete, eliminates slipping hazards, and is easy to clean. And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, there are no hidden maintenance costs. Act now and save up to 50% with our volume discount pricing. Must be installed by the end of March. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature's Stone.
If a piston makes it go, it's in this show. March Motor Mania takes over the 2020 Summit Racing Equipment IX Piston-Powered Autorama. March 13th, 14th, and 15th at the IX Center. Show cars, antique trucks, construction equipment, hot rods in the Asylum, motorcycles, military vehicles, and themed car clubs. New for 2020, the Throwdown Monster Trucks, and the return of Fat Man's Invasion. With Euros, imports, sport compacts, and lowriders. Kids 12 and under are free. PistonPowerShow.com for details. Discount tickets on sale at Discount Drug Mart locations and Summit Racing Equipment in Talmadge.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Tomorrow night, the D-Man, Dennis Maniloff, will join us. You see us Monday through Friday live from 6 until 7 p.m. And you can find us all day long when you archive us on cleveland.com. So easy, even I can do it for the most part. 216-575-0403. Bud Shaw checking in from Florida tonight. We wish we were there. You having a good time?
I am. I'm a little sad that I'm missing one of the great events in spring training history every year.
And that would be?
That would be Paul Hoynes' birthday. There are some legendary nights, including the one where he celebrated his birthday by knocking Tom Hamilton off the air.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, what did Tom do wrong that he deserved that? Is tonight the night?
Yes, so happy
birthday
goes out. I'm surprised he wasn't on your list of birthdays. That was a bit of an oversight on your part.
Could have been 1947 now that I think about it. No, he's not that old, is he? All right, got some How Come Quickies. So. Do you have paper to write on or pens? Or
I do.
What do you have?
Yep, I do, and I've got markers.
This is from LP, who I think is a new emailer, LP from Akron. How come Major League Baseball can quickly come up with a list of do's and don'ts for players signing autographs and try to avoid catching germs, but they can't finish the 2018 investigation of the Boston Red Sox cheating scandal? Other than lengthy, it makes a good point. Although it's only worth a 5.5.
Yeah, it's way too long.
That looks like a Sharpie. That looks like a Sharpie.
Quickies. I found a Sharpie, yes.
They're called Quickies, sir? Is that what you're trying to say?
They are called Quickies.
All right, very good. All right. Stuart, who is becoming a consistent contributor. How come Mr. Shaw is so tough on my Quickies? How come we're all tired of Cleveland sports feeding us a line? Of course, with the Browns, it's a line. The Cavaliers, it's B line. And the Tribe, it's bottom line. A lot of thought.
Yeah, a lot went into that.
And a lot apparently is going to go out of it.
A lot more needed to go into that still.
You're only as good as the guy who grades you thinks you are. All right, I think we got a good one here. Hey, Bud and Les. Mitch from Kent. How come the man who was cloned so happy he was beside himself? How come the man who was cloned was so happy he was beside himself? How come Indiana Jones' nickname wasn't Fedora the Explorer? How come dogs can't operate MRI scanners but cats can? I know.
Listen,
that was stolen.
Those are all pretty strong. I do remember hearing at least one of those before.
Yeah,
but
they're counting
8.0 on a night when I gave out a 5.5 and a 6.0 is.
Yeah.
This is red carpet material.
Yeah, I think the problem is if they have a memory and they can hold out long enough, they know we'll forget it by the time it comes back at us. This from Big Ed. How come eggs come in a flimsy styrofoam carton, but batteries come in a package you need a chainsaw to open? He's not wrong.
I like it. I didn't see where it was going.
Yeah,
I wasn't, totally upset where it ended up.
All right, how about this from Big Ed? How come when you get to a certain age, your idea of a hot date is a recliner and a heating pad? Can't argue with that.
Yeah, I won't grade that one because his last one was better, so he's going to top off at 8.5.
Take the best of show.
It's like a tee box, right? Where you hit one, and if you hit a second, you get to choose which one you want.
Which is a bad rule. I mean, you should have to, if you're going to take a second one, that's got to be the one you live with. All right, here's John Patrick. This will be my last Quickie for a while. I'm having my knee replaced, and I'll be out of action for a while. What about a knee replaced stops you from writing?
I don't get that one. So I'll tell you what, after telling us all that, this one better be good.
Well, we'll see. How come when Robin Hood gave me a bag of money, I said, wow, I'm rich, then he took it back? Don't you think he could do better than that?
Yeah, but
8.6.
It's pretty good, I think. 8.6.
Well, I think you're going by reputation on that.
Well, I also feel sorry for him since he's.
What's he having his knee replaced?
Knee replacement, and apparently both hands are going to be in casts.
He's having his knee replaced by an elbow, maybe. All right, you got about 30 seconds. Anything you'd like to add to the proceedings?
No, I mean, as we get closer to opening day, I think, we get hung up a little bit on how much money this team is spending, but I think they're going to be a pretty good contender in the American League, and I think they're going to be a team that's within a couple games of the Twins for most of the summer, which will make the whole indoor thing even more interesting, right?
Yep, absolutely. All right, Bud, enjoy yourself. We will break up an hour with you on next Tuesday night if you're still willing, and we'll talk to you then. You got it. Thanks, Bud. Bud, the great Bud Shaw. Thank you, Bud. The great Bud Shaw from cleveland.com. I'm sorry, WKYC.com. We appreciate it very much. All right, we are seen on cleveland.com. Thanks to Bud. D-Man Dennis Maniloff tomorrow. We'll see you then. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.